Grand Rapids is an incredible place to live. And as we know, there are also a lot of other amazing places all around Grand Rapids. Today, we're gonna take a quick moment and we're gonna get a little glimpse of what it's like to live, work, and play in the city of Zeeland. I'm Nick Belmore, and I'm a local realtor who specializes in helping buyers find the right property for them. And I also specialize in helping sellers get into the property that fits them and their family best now at this stage of life. Okay, let's take a quick look at Zeeland. But before we do, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date as all of our city profiles start to come out, as well as some of the other great content that we have about West Michigan. When we start to look at Zeeland, the price point in Zeeland over the past year has been $364,000 on average. So a fair price point when it comes to Zeeland. We see a lot of it in alignment with a good chunk of West Michigan here. When we start to get into the distances, on this one, the distance to the airport, probably our furthest of the three that we look at from Zeeland. 42 minutes to get to the airport from the city of Zeeland. If we wanted to go ahead and get to downtown, a little bit easier of a transport, we're looking at about a 25-minute drive to get to downtown Grand Rapids. And if we're gonna go the opposite, if we wanna spend a day over on Lake Michigan, a little bit of time on the beach, it's just about a 19-minute ride to get to Tunnel Park at Lake Michigan. So Zeeland, you can see, is really a great place that puts you in the center of everything West Michigan has to offer. When it comes to the Zeeland school ratings, we have a fantastic school system with an A rating in the city of Zeeland. One of the big things for Zeeland is absolutely just the great educational opportunities, but also Zeeland has a lot of school facilities for the extracurriculars when it comes to sports or any of the clubs, any of that kind of stuff. Zeeland schools really deliver on a great student experience. As we start to take a look at the neighborhoods in Zeeland, we actually have quite an interesting mix. So a lot of Zeeland started out as farmland just a little ways back. When it comes to the more downtown area of Zeeland, we do see some of those 50s, 60s, and 70s homes that dot around some of the neighborhoods downtown. As we start to get a little bit further out, we see a lot of what I would consider newer subdivisions. And to me, this is one of these subdivisions that would maybe be built after the year 2000, something under 25 years old. That makes up a good bulk of a lot of the available inventory in the city of Zeeland. So builders have been coming in, they've been developing a lot of these farm fields into subdivisions. A lot of those homes are what we're seeing over and over again. So if you are looking for maybe a little bit more modern home with some of the amenities, like having a larger walk-in closet, or even having extra bathrooms, as so many of the modern homes do, a lot of times just more judicious use of some of the storage space, Zeeland probably has a lot of opportunities for you. When it comes to shopping, Zeeland is a little bit smaller area, and we actually only have one grocery store within the city limits of Zeeland, and that is Family Fare. However, there are still a lot of choices in some of the surrounding areas, and many of these choices are no more than 7 to 10 minutes away if you're at the center of Zeeland. So even though there's not a big plethora of choices, the city next door, Holland, absolutely has a lot, and it's a very short distance to get there. When it comes to some of the public amenities in Zeeland, it does not let us down. There's some really great parks. The first one that I want to take a look at is the Zeeland Splash Pad Park. If you're with some small kids, you're looking for a great place to cool off in the summer, this place definitely has it. The splash zone they have there is really cool, a lot of fun for the younger kids. If you're looking maybe with some of the older kids, maybe something a little bit more sports oriented, Huizenga Park is a great place to check out. They have a playground, They have the baseball fields. They also have their own skate park, which is really cool. And if you're into pickleball like I am, they do also have some public pickleball courts. So a ton of different choices. Of course, they do have the walking paths, all the same basic stuff that we see in there as well. Huizenga Park is a really cool place to check out. The other one we want to look at is the Upper Maketawa Nature Area. Obviously named after Lake Maketawa, this is a really cool place to be able to go, check out the trails, and not feel like everything has been manicured. If you're looking for maybe a little bit more of that wild trail experience versus maybe walking through on some of the really manicured trails or where everything's landscaped throughout, then Upper Maketawa Nature Area is probably a place that's worth your time to check out. Last but not least, when it comes to some of the public things, right? Zeeland is actually in Ottawa County, not Kent County. So if you've heard me talk about this before, I talk a lot about the Kent District Library, but it's the Howard Miller Public Library that they have over in Zeeland, and this, while not part of the Kent District Library section, is part of the Ottawa. So great situation in there. It's an absolutely beautiful library, an absolutely beautiful building, and well worth checking out if you have an afternoon in Zeeland. As we start to look at some of the other things to do in Zeeland, we can get into a pretty cool list. One of the ones that I want to start with is downtown. Zeeland does have its very own art gallery. So if you're maybe looking to check out some cool art, maybe a little bit of culture, the Zeeland Art Gallery is definitely a place that is worth your stop in the afternoon. If you're looking for maybe a little bit more outdoor activities, there's the Winding Creek Golf Club. So again, we know Michigan has just the most golf courses per capita of any state except one, and that is the state of Florida. So if you are into that golfing life, obviously if you've watched this series, I mean, we have so many cities that have just beautiful prominent golf courses. For the city of Zeeland, it's the Winding Creek Golf Club, and it's definitely worth your time to check it out. The other thing that we could take a look at is crossfire paintball. Maybe spending an evening or afternoon on the golf course isn't quite your thing, and maybe it's just a little bit of paintball you're looking for. If you want to spend your afternoons getting shot at with little balls of paint, then Crossfire is probably a place for you to check out. The next one that I want to pull up too is the Dutch Treat Campground. This is such an iconic place in Zeeland. If you've lived in this area, you've definitely driven by, you've definitely taken notice of it. Maybe you're interested in a little bit of a weekend getaway with the RV, or maybe you're into tent camping. But either way, the Dutch Treat Campground has you covered. Of course, they do have an in-ground pool that is absolutely amazing. And of course, one of the things that they have a ton of different treats, including some of my favorite is the Dutch chocolate ice cream. Of course, they do have the Dutch chocolate milk. Everything Dutch chocolate is definitely awesome in that place. If you're looking for a fun thing maybe on the weekend to do, it's well worth checking out. And again, last but not least, I do want to talk about the Critter Barn. This is a really cool place. I used to spend some time when my kids were much younger. We would go there and visit. It's a really fun experience that is all wrapped up into a learning experience with a petting zoo. If you want to learn a little bit more maybe about that farm life, if you want to get up close and personal with just some great animals, the Critter Barn is definitely worth an afternoon to go for. If you have some small kids, it's one of those places where you can go back again and again, and without a doubt, the kids will have fun every single time at the Critter Barn. Okay, when it comes to our unique restaurants in the city of Zeeland, let me tell you, we have a good amount. And actually, Zeeland is one of those rare places around too, where you really don't have a ton of chains. There's a few things here and there, but for the most part, there's a lot more one-off or unique restaurants in the city of Zeeland. So I want to explore a couple of those, obviously, as we get in. First one that I want to look at is Frank's Restaurant. They specialize in burgers over there. Definitely a cool place to check out if you're into burgers. The Farmhouse Restaurant is another one. If you're into kind of that breakfast, lunch, diner style of eating, it's a great place to check out. Public Restaurant, if you're looking for something a little bit maybe more high-end, a little bit fancier, another cool place that's worth checking out. Street Tacos is another cool place in there. Again, all these cool little one-off places that you see in Zeeland are definitely fun, worth exploring, and you get a much different experience than so many of those chain restaurants. American Char Barbecue is definitely one that's also worth checking out. Same thing with Community Restaurant. That is a little dinner lunch place, definitely a cool one to check out as well. Thai Avenue is another one if you're looking for Thai food. Again, super popular with a lot of people. The Mooville Ice Cream Store, if you're ever over by the grain elevator in Zeeland, definitely worth checking out over there at Mooville. I definitely love that one. However, my absolute number one when it comes to Zeeland is Captain Sunday for our ice cream shops. I absolutely love checking out Captain Sunday. This is just one of those super cool little quaint places, and it's just a little ice cream shop with a million different choices. And right next to it, of course, they have putt-putt golf. So if you're interested in a fun afternoon, I think that Captain Sunday is just one of those Zeeland classics. If you live there or you've been through there, there's a great chance that you've stopped at some point at Captain Sunday and gotten something delicious to eat. Hopefully this has brought you guys some value, and hopefully you were able to find some new and interesting information about the city of Zeeland. If you might be living in Zeeland or super familiar with it, please tell me in the comments, is there anything I missed? Is there anything that should have been on this list that wasn't? Please let me know, because I would love to make sure that I'm adding and updating these videos all the time. And if you are thinking about making a move yourself, I would absolutely love to hear from you. My contact information is in the description below, and I would be honored to help you find the right home for you and your family.